we wanna dive in talking about the Christ consciousness. First Corinthians 2:16. First Corinthians 2:16 talks about the mind of Christ. For who hath known the mind of the Lord that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ. This is important because discussing in Corinthians, Paul's time. And we're going to utilize his words today because this is where most people are at that we're reaching out to. But he uses this word for mind, and you see the word nous or nous, right? Nous. Very, very interesting. Nous, probably from the base G 1097. And this word, they say it means the mind, comprising alike the faculties of perceiving and understanding, and those of feeling, judging, determining. So when Paul is saying, well, we have the mind of Christ, Paul is saying that the faculties of perceiving, that means that the way that they were perceiving was the same exact way that the real and living Messiah, Yahshua Christ, was perceiving. We know that's not the case because they weren't really following the real and living Messiah, Yahshua Christ. They were following none other than Julius Caesar. Right? That's important. That's important because if we don't identify who this Christ is, then we don't know who they're perceiving things and understanding those and feeling and judging and determining things like. Are y'all still there?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we're.
Yeah.
So if we don't know who the real and living Messiah is, we're going to have a comprehension problem, as we talked about last week. The light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. It goes on to say the intellectual faculty, the understanding, the reason in the narrower sense, as the capacity for spiritual truth. So when we talk about spiritual truth, when we talk about the ability to reason, the higher powers of the soul, they say, is mind. The faculty of perceiving divine things, of recognizing goodness, and of hating evil. Well, if the devil is posing as Christ or posing as God, then good and evil gets twisted. Distorted, yeah. It gets distorted. The power of considering and judging soberly, calmly, and impartially, not jumping up and down and foaming at the mouth and speaking in unintelligible tongues. A particular mode of thinking and judging, that is, thoughts, feelings, purposes, desires. Say the word here is nous, from the base G 1097, the intellect, the mind, the divine or human in thought. Okay, it's coming from 1097. Genosern, to know, to come to know, to get a knowledge or perceive, to feel, to become known. I want y'all to stop me when y'all see the word believe. I want y'all to stop me when y'all see the word just have faith. By the grace of. I want y'all to stop me, please. To understand, to know. The Jewish idiom for sexual intercourse, to know. Because when they say that Adam knew Eve, this is the Jewish idiom for sexual intercourse between a man and a woman. To become acquainted with, to know. So when we talk about knowing something, we mean becoming intimate with it. To know it from every angle, every perspective. In a great variety of applications and with many implications, allowed to be aware. This key word right here, aware. We're going to come back to this word aware. Write that down. To feel, have knowledge, perceive, be resolved, can speak, be sure. And so what type of mind, if we're just using this as we can say what type of mind Christ had. Did he have a believing mind, or did he have a mind that was based on confirming things before he believed in it?
Confirming.
Confirming, yes.
Mind, yes.
We can all agree with that. The mind, the faculties of perceiving, understanding of those feeling, judging, the intellect faculty, the understanding, reason, faculty of perceiving divine things. So we got to know what it is for something to be divine in order to perceive it. The power of considering and judging soberly. So this is important because Paul is saying that they have the mind of Christ. That's shown us in John 1:41. They used the word Christ. They were interpreting it by the standards of the Gentiles, the Greeks. John 1:41, he first findeth his own brother Simon, and saith unto him, we have found the Messiah, which is being interpreted, the Christ. This is a word, they say it's Christos, and this word Christos is in Greek, which means that the people that were speaking or interpreting were speaking Greek. Yes?
Yes.
Are you all there with me? I want to make sure we're being heard.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, prayer.
All right. So if they were speaking Greek, and we got to be able to say it to our loved ones and to strangers alike, that people speaking and interpreting at this time, they were Greek, which means that their perception and everything that deals with the mind, their intellect, their way of thinking, their faculty of reasoning is all based off of Greco-Roman mind or mentality. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So that being the case, when we ask the question, then, well, what does it mean to be at one with the correct consciousness? We gotta understand, well, what freaking Messiah? This was the Messiah who was crucified in Egypt, because Jesus Christ was not crucified in Egypt, as Revelation 11:8 discusses. John 10:30 says what?
Because I and my Father are one.
I and my Father are one. Okay, the word for father, look at this word into God is not male and female. They're now watching what the true scriptures are saying, and now they want to teach it all of a sudden.
Language is different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? So this father, this male ancestor, they will say, then it goes here to say what?
Plural of both parents.
Oh, okay. So it ain't only father. It's talking about the plural of both parents, mother and father. Okay? That's key, because it means that Joshua was saying he was one with the mother father. Wasn't only one with the father, because if that was the case, then what was he with his mother? Not one? That's the question. That's what we got to ask people when they bring us the perspective of the Greco-Roman. The Greco-Roman is saying he was only one with his father, but we know that the word father is not there.
They could probably go to that verse when Mary, when Jesus was teaching and Mary was trying to get his attention, and he said, "Can't you say I'm of my Father's work?"
Right. I'm on my father's work. Who is my mother and my brothers? Those who believe as I do. They find a way to disconnect him from the mother, but yet woman was there after he was supposedly resurrected from the dead, not the man. That's right, Sister Nala. So were they trying to become conscious? And as Abbas has said, if their words can be seen as the words of God now, then the people who said them before they said it can be seen as God messengers then and now.
That's right.
Our BBs and Babas.
Exclude that. Exactly.
All right. So this word heis, you say this is the word one. One, primary numeral one, plus abundantly man, one another, only, other, some. And they give us some other words to look at. A cardinal numeral one, used universally, in opposed to many, and added to nouns after the manner in an adjective. All right, let's look at the whole thing because we want to see what one represents. Okay, the one man, they say, to denote whichever it may be, one commandment, whichever, or of the whole number it may be, okay? With the genitive of a noun signifying a whole to denote that one of, out of a company did this or that. The one whom I have named, one. So they have different interpretations of this word one. Okay, but he's saying he was one with his mother and father. Okay, as respects each other severally, everyone, one by one successively, each severally, everyone. All right. So when he's saying he's one with the father, as they would say, he's meaning that there's really no distinction between him and the mother father. They have become one. John 17, starting at verse 21. We could go back even up to verse 20. Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word, that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me. And the glory which thou gavest me I have given them, that they may be one, even as we are one. I in them, and thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one. When do we gain our perfection? When we become one. And that the world may know that thou hast sent me, and hast loved them as thou hast loved me. Father, I will that they also whom thou hast given me be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory, which thou hast given me. For thou lovedest me before the foundation of the world, O righteous Father. The world hath not known thee, but I have known thee. And these have known that thou hast sent me. And I have declared unto them thy name, and I will declare it, that the love wherewith thou hast loved me may be in them, and I in them. Because this ability to become one means that we also will have to be one in mind. Okay, we'll have to become one in mind. Go to Matthew 22. Make sure you highlight these. Make sure you write them down. First part of this, Matthew 22, talks about this marriage feast, this wedding. Yes, talked about it before. Then it goes into this tribute to Caesar, which is weird because why are we giving tributes to Caesar? All right. And it goes on talk about how we're supposed to love. You say the Lord here, Matthew 22 and 37. Yahshua said unto them what? Thou shalt love who?
Love the Lord thy God with all
with some of your heart. That's what it says, right? Y'all see some, right? Don't use all. Use some of your heart. And use some of your soul. And then you can't use all your mind because you got to have some room for belief. That's what it say, right? Y'all seeing what we're seeing?
Yes, we are.
Matthew 22 and 37, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. Cardia, for that word, cardiac. So there's a spiritual heart and there's a physical heart. We got to love the Lord, got to become one with, and then look at this word love, with cardia, the heart, that organ in the eye, and hence was regarded as the seat of physical life. Denotes the center of all physical and spiritual life, the cooked. The vigor and sense of physical life, the center and seat of spiritual life, the cooked. That's what this heart is, the soul or mind, they say, because the heart is weighed against the feather. Right. As it is the fountain and seat of thought. See there, passions, desires, appetites, affections, purposes, endeavors of the understanding, the faculty, and the seat of the intelligence. They're telling you where the intelligence is in the heart. The heart is weighed against the feather. Okay, love the Lord thy God with all of the heart, the center, the cooked, because this is where this atonus, divine atonus grace resides in the heart. Yep, divine atonus grace. And with all thy soul, they say the soul is the psyche. All right, coming to you right now, Sister Kanye Sobepti. The psyche, or the suke, the breath of life, the vital force which animates the body and shows itself in breathing of animals, of men, life, that in which there is life, a living being, a living soul, the seat of feelings, the desires, the affections, the aversions, our heart, soul. So they're combining or conflating the heart and the soul, the human soul, and so far as it is constituted, that by the right use of the aids offered it by God, it can attain its highest end and secure eternal blessedness. The soul regarded as a moral being designed for everlasting life. The soul is an essence which differs from the body and is not dissolved by death. So when we talk about the suke or the psyche, most people would say, well, that's the mind. This is saying the breath of life. Go ahead, my sister. Tanya Sobepti.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Go ahead.
Because, I mean, I guess I can't get past the thinking of everything that they're attributing to the heart is almost what I would think should be the mind. Because it says it's where thought and all these other things come from. And I'm like, help.
Right.
So maybe I'll let you finish explaining the mind and then see if I have clarity, because I'm right now like, this is not registering with everything that I've always known. So I just need clarity. But I'll let you finish the mind first and then come back.
No problem. And I'm glad you picking up on what's going on, because we started out by talking about the mind of Christ. And this is obviously how Julius Caesar thought, because he was Roman and the Romans were learning from the Greeks. And this is important because they all were studying in Africa at different points of their growth and development. And they came back out of the continent of Africa not fully understanding what they had learned. So when they start to teach it, we looking at it like, that don't make sense.
They gave it from their perspective.
You understand? But the heart,
You know what? No, now that I think about it, because it says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
yes.
And before you speak, there is thought. So I guess I just never really put it together that way. But now that I'm thinking of those scriptures, like, okay, that makes that scripture make more sense.
Right. The heart itself gives off much more. They talk about the electro. These waves that come off of the heart. The heart is the most powerful source of electromagnetic energy in the human body, producing the largest rhythmic electromagnetic field of any of the body's organs. The heart's electrical field is about 60 times greater in amplitude than the electrical activity generated by the brain. So from this perspective, there are those who would dive into this research to understand why the heart is so much more larger as far as the electromagnetic field is concerned, 60 times greater than the brain. Question then becomes,
Heart is the first brain. The intelligence and the first tactic to say that we are pregnant
is the heart. Yep. Does the stomach have a brain? Scientists call this the little brain, the enteric nervous system, and it's not so little. The ENS is 2 thin layers of more than 100 million nerve cells lining your gastrointestinal tract from the esophagus to the rectum. This is considered a brain. Now, this brain, the stomach, question then becomes, how does the brain of the stomach and heart work? Your 3 brains, your head, your heart, and your gut. All right? Let's read this. Let's see. I didn't know he was coming here. I'm just reading it for the first time with everybody here. Talk about these 2 brains.
When they say gut, they mean stomach?
Sun Warrior. Say it again.
When they say the gut, is that the stomach?
Yes.
Correct. So that That brain, it goes from the esophagus all the way to
So
the
y'all
rectum.
can't blame me for being greedy then. I just want to know. Okay, go ahead.
And that's why Bases is teaching us that they understand that they can control you through the foods.
Right.
Because that's a brain that we're not factoring in. Your three brains, all right? Your three brains, how your head, heart, and gut work together for a gut feeling. There's a reason people use these kinds of phrases to describe their feelings. Let me
Yes.
see the
Yes,
screen. Let's make sure we're seeing it. Okay? There's a reason people use these kinds of phrases to describe their feelings or why they took a particular action when doing something. Although the brain is responsible for the actions you take, there's more to it than that. You might be surprised to hear that your head, heart, and gut are all classed as brains. Over the last several years, neuroscience has shown that aside from the brain in your head, we also have a gut brain, the enteric brain, and a heart brain, the cardiac brain. Oh, so there is a heart brain. It's what scientists are saying. What are the three brains? Think about when you had to speak in public and got butterflies in your stomach, or made a decision because you followed your heart. The heart, head, and gut all have complex neural pathways that work together. Listening to all three of them is key to making better decisions. Right? Move the white lady. All right. The heart, the head, and the gut all have complex neural pathways that work together. Listening to all three of them is key to making better decisions. When they rate, guide my thoughts, guide my words, guide my actions. Listening to all three of them is key to making better decisions. By keeping your three brains healthy, they can work together efficiently for a better you. This article explains how your head, gut, and heart work together to create a powerful mind and a healthy body. So the mind doesn't just represent the brain, it represents the what? The brain, the gut, and the heart.
Where your mind goes, the body follows.
The human body has three brains. Each brain can learn, change, and communicate. Make better decisions with your head, heart, and gut brain. A healthy heart keeps your brain sharp as you age. How to nurture your three brains for a better you. I'll put this in the chat. Those who want to do a little bit more reading, need to grab it out. We got about 2 more minutes in this session, and then we'll come out and come right back in. All right. But my sister, that's a great question. And the confusion is more so based around the fact that when they teach us in their education system, they only make mention of brain in your head. We don't learn about the brain in the gut. We don't learn about the brain in the heart. We don't learn that there's a heart brain. So this is important for us to.
Sorry, one more quick question on that. Do the sacral seats closest to those three components carry more weight per se than the others, or it doesn't matter?
Well, they don't carry more weight because they all function together. They may appear to carry more weight based on what you may be focusing on at the time. So because you're focusing on a matter of the heart, then that particular Arush Kokab or seat may, at that point in time, serve you more than the others, but they all are linked. They all work together. That's what the mind of Christ is, having all of these at one together. We'll stop there for now, come out and come right back in for our True Light Scriptural Study. Thank you all for your patience, and we'll be right back. Namaste.